guys, I'm back again. I'm here with another video. Since I've been away for a while, I'm sure you want to know what I have been reading. So you're going to get a series of videos that touch on the different books that I've been reading. Now, I have to admit, I've been killing it this year. The books I have been reading have been so fantastic. They've been so good. And I attribute it partially because of the podcast that I'm doing with Christy, and because we've been killing it. We've been picking these classics because we're doing reading over the decades. And so that is starting with the 1920s. So that has been really sparking us to choose some really interesting books. And I must say, this podcast has really colored my reading even more than I could have ever imagined. And I'm enjoying the hell out of podcasting alongside Christy. So if you haven't checked out our podcast, which is called Brown Girls Booking, link will be below, but you can find it in all of the different, places, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, everywhere. So, with that being said, this particular video is going to focus on a reading project that I have started. I am reading through the Rougon-Macquart series by Emile Zola. And this is a series that has quite a few big classics in it. Most people in France have read, a few of the classics that are a part of this particular series, called Les Rougon-Macquart series. And I had only read one, and the one that I read, I realized I have forgotten quite a lot of it. So I was happy to revisit it. So the thing is, my friend Anna and I, we will be reading through this entire series. So it's 20 books, so it's going to take us 2 years. But like the months are flying by because we have already finished our 7th book in the series. And I'm just like, yes, Anna, we're doing it. So reading these in French has been a really great experience, and I'm enjoying the setup of this whole thing. And so I have some of the books. I have all of the ones that we've read here so far. The only one I'm missing, I have all of the books here, except the only one I'm missing is the first one. I don't know where the first one is. It's around here somewhere. But so these are 6 of the 7 books that we've read. We just finished reading this one, which is called Les Rougon-Macquart. But let me just give you sort of a little understanding of what it is here. So this series touches on a family called the Rougon family. And it becomes the Rougon-Macquart series because the first member, so it starts with Adelaide and Pierre. And Pierre and Adelaide get together, they get married, and they have one child who's called Pierre. Now, what winds up happening is, at one point, Pierre dies and leaves Adelaide alone, and she then carries on a relationship with the man who lives in the house behind their house. Literally, there's a gate that goes from Adelaide's garden to Macquart's house and garden. And she starts a relationship with him. And from there, Pierre suddenly now has a bunch of half-brothers and sisters. And so from there, we get the Rougon-Macquart series. So it's set in the mid to late 19th century, and we move, for the moment we've been moving between Plassans, which is supposed to be a village in the south of France, and the other place it's set is in Paris. So each book focuses on something culturally French that was important at that time. And what Emile Zola was trying to do was to show the details and the complexities of life in France in the 19th century and to show its growth. Also, with growth comes good things and bad things. And he does that through this family called Rougon-Macquart, which they call Rougon-Macquart. Because what is it? It's basically the legitimate family and the illegitimate family together, their names together. So Rougon is the legitimate family and Macquart is the illegitimate family. So with this, we have been learning quite a lot of things. I've been trying, been saying, oh, so that's why they do that. That's why the French do that. I've been doing that a lot, and it's been kind of funny, actually. So the first book, which I'm going to picture here because I don't have it with me, is La Fortune des Rougon. And this book really gets to the beginning of this family. So it's basically saying a lot of families are composed of legitimate and illegitimate. And he is presenting this to us so that we know where all of this is beginning. This is the beginning, this book. So that's pretty much what this one is about. Now, the second book is called La Curée, and that's, I think in English, it's translated as The Kill. And this book right here, this talks about the son. It's one of the legitimate sons, and it's his debut or coming out in Paris, if you want. And this book was, wow, mind-blowing. It was really, really good and had a lot of twists and turns and surprises. Really good. We really, really enjoyed this one. I think I gave this one 5 stars. La Fortune des Rougon, I think I gave it 4 stars. Now, the next book is called Le Ventre de Paris. And this one has the main character who is Florent. And we see here, Florent is not a member of the Rougon family, nor the Macquart family. But it's through the character of Florent that we see his brother. And his brother is married to someone who's part of the Rougon side of the family. And this one takes place in the center of Paris, which is called Les Halles. And the Les Halles part of Paris at this time in the 19th century was a place where they had lots of shops selling different types of food, selling fish and meat and cheese and all kinds of different things. And so we're now in the area where we're studying closely these particular types of people who sell food. It is very significant, the title and how it plays on the whole psychology and understanding of what this is really all about. Food and fat people as opposed to skinny people, and it's just really, really interesting. I think I gave this one 3 stars, but I think it's because there was some parts that were a bit slow, but as a whole, it's a really pretty good story. The way he talks about, like I said, the psychology or philosophy around the fat people and the skinny people and all of that. It's really interesting. The next one is called La Conquête de Plassans. So this one, and as you can see, there's like a priest on the front cover of this one. So, wow. This is a real psychological kind of story around religion and the power of religion in a small community. There's a lot going on in this story, and there's some very, very interesting interactions and some other things that show us about, French people at the time and in small towns, and how they class people, but also how they can manipulate people into doing pretty much what they want to do with them. And this one right here surprised both Anna and I. We really enjoyed it, and we could not stop chatting about it. And it's just, we gave this one, I think it was a 4 or 5 stars. It was just really, really good. So the next one is La Faute de l'Abbé Mouret. And this one discusses one of the sons from the couple in this book. And let me tell you, this book is shockingly good, but it has some pretty strange explanations around religion. I'm speaking specifically Catholicism, that kind of shocked Anna and I. And I'm sure when Zola wrote this one, I'm sure he got some flack for it, because he was saying some things that are just completely out there on religion. But this has a very big part of religion, but also it's around the commitment that a priest makes around religion, and the connection between the priest and the community that he's serving. And just to show you, in this one, just before La Conquête de Plassans, because these are really linked, this one as well, it has this connection of what is the meaning, and what does the priest mean to the communities that they serve in. These two really, really good. Okay, then the next book we had was Son Excellence Eugène Rougon. And Eugène Rougon is on the legitimate side of the family, because Rougon, that's how you know. And here we find out more details about Eugène, which we learn a little bit about Eugène in the very first book, but we only hear about him being in Paris, and there's this back and forth with letters. But in here we actually see who he really is as a person, and his connections politically. So this one, in the end, we read through it, but it's a lot of pages. This one was like 566 pages. And my God, once I'd read through the entire book, I was so gutted and disappointed with the ending. I gave it a 2.5, because I felt like there were moments and opportunities within this book to do certain things, and I still don't understand what he was trying to do there, and like why he didn't do some things. So I was super disappointed. I gave it a 2.5. The 2.5 is because I really liked the writing, but the rest was, yeah, that storyline was a no-go for me. And so last but not least, we came to L'Assommoir, and I had read this book back in the day and forgot about some of the things. I forgot a lot of things in this book. Damn, this book was so freaking good. But my God, was I so sad when it was, you know, while I was reading it. It just got really, really dark and really, really heavy. And this one revolves around the presence of l'absinthe and hard liquor, and people getting addicted to drinking, and how this was affecting some people in 19th century France. Just devastating reading this. So the main character in here is Gervaise, and Gervaise is on the Macquart side of the family, the illegitimate side of the family. But my goodness, whoo child, Gervaise went through it, and so did I. But I highly recommend this one. It was a fantastic read. I can see why this is one of the great classics from the Rougon-Macquart series. And yes, it is also translated into English if you're interested. So that's all I have for you today around this Rougon-Macquart series. I will come back probably at the end of the year once we finish reading book 12. So to let you know how I'm feeling about the series as a whole. But having read half of it already, I am just so happy to be reading it and enjoying it and reading, getting to know better this whole dynamic of doing a 20-book series really focused around an illegitimate and legitimate family, but at the same time giving historical and cultural cues and understanding of 19th century France as it's growing into modernity. It's just fucking awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I highly recommend this series. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with another video real soon. Bye-bye.